In this section, we are going to take a look at the risk taker and take a look at risk in more detail. So would you regard yourself as a risk taker? When you're placing a trade, there is a risk that the trade may lose. So does this make you a risk taker? Or are you just somebody who partakes in an activity that has risk attached to it? Is there a difference? Let's explore this concept of risk, and let's take a look at the different types of risk. So is an entrepreneur a risk taker? They risk their time and their money to build up their business, and there is a very high chance that they will lose not only their money, but their time and efforts have all been wasted. So are they a risk taker? What about getting married? Is this a risk? In fact, this is probably one of the biggest financial risks that anybody can take in their lives. So why do we think so differently about starting a business or getting married compared to trading the markets? This begs the question, how would you define risk? The dictionary definition of risk is a probability or threat of damage, injury, liability, loss, or any other negative occurrence that is caused by external or internal vulnerabilities, and that may be avoided through preemptive action. Now in trading, we cannot avoid this risk by taking preemptive action. The only preemptive action that we can take to avoid the risk is to not place the trade altogether. But what we do is reduce the risk by analysing the situation, deciding that yes, we have an edge in the market, and we go ahead and place the trade, ensuring that we have our take profit and stop loss in place. And most importantly, we stick to our strategy. Let's not get caught up in this definition. We essentially know what risk is, and that in trading it is unavoidable. But the bigger question we should be asking ourselves is, can you be said to be a risk taker if you do not fully accept the risk? So what do I mean by fully accepting the risk? Just have a think about when you're placing a trade. Would you say that you have fully accepted the risk? By fully accepting the risk, I mean that you are going ahead and placing that trade in a completely neutral and emotionless way. You do not feel excited about the trade or anxious about placing it. You are placing it in the full knowledge and understanding that it has the potential to lose, and you will feel no negative emotion if it does go on to lose. So a risk taker is somebody who completely accepts the risk. The best traders are those who not only accept the risk, but also embrace it. They put on trades without the slightest hesitation or internal conflict in their mind. And they can exit trades even at a loss with the same mindset. Now there is a huge psychological gap between assuming you are a risk taker because you can put on trades and fully accepting the risks inherent in each trade. When you do learn to fully accept the risks inherent in each trade, you'll be well on your way to thinking like a winning trader. Let's now take a look at risk in terms of trading risk versus the traditional concept of gambling. Now, when I explain to people what my occupation is, I often receive the response, "Oh, so you're a professional gambler then?" Why do people say this? Would they say this to a city trader or a business owner? They are taking risks on a day-to-day basis, just like I am. It is very interesting how different people perceive risk. Now, with risk taking, as opposed to gambling, you have decided that there is more chance of something happening than not in your evaluation of the situation. Think about crossing a road. If you have looked both ways and concluded that it is safe to cross, then you take the risk of crossing the road. However, there may still be a slight chance that a very fast car comes along and mows you down, albeit a slim chance. On the flip side of this, if you choose to cross the road without looking, then you are taking a completely uncalculated risk. Now, a gambler would cross the road without looking. A trader, although taking the same apparent risk, has a much higher chance of survival. So by learning to accept the risk in its entirety without any form of emotion or internal conflict is one of the biggest components to thinking like a winning trader. If you can master the idea of fully accepting risk, then you can call yourself a risk taker, and you will be on a very lucrative path to becoming the trader that you want to be.